Wednesday. Happy March 2nd. A happy financial aid due date. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. And then if you haven't, or if you're new here, please make sure that you drop down your name in the chat, as well as your grade level, so that we can separate you into the appropriate breakout room. As well as filling out our Google form that will be popping up shortly in the moment, making sure that we're filling those out. Thank you. Again, happy Wednesday. Happy financial aid deadline. So if you guys haven't, as a senior, please make sure that, you complete your financial aid today. All of our case managers are more than happy to help you out. If you're having any struggles coming to the site or anything along those lines, feel free to send us an email so that we can try and set up a Zoom meeting and that we can help you out and finish your financial aid application so that we can just maximize on as much money and affordability for college as possible. For our underclassmen, this is a great, lovely reminder that financial aid ends March 2nd and it opens October 1st. So that's a deadline that you want to remember for next year. Write it in your calendar, especially if you're a junior, because in all honesty, by the end of this year in October, your financial aid application will open. Crazy, right? For our juniors, we're going to be applying to college this year. Fun. So make sure you guys write that down. Of course, our seniors were happy to help. While we're here, I think we do have some special announcements about some events that are coming up and some things that will be going on so that we can all just be on the same page and all just kind of go for it and just kind of go into it. Welcome. Make sure, again, you guys are signing in, dropping down your name, putting in your information right there in the chat, as well as filling out our Google form that's already right there in the chat to make sure that we can keep track of attendance and make sure that we're all here together and that we're all here doing things together. And then I think our first announcement for our underclassmen, our junior class, little fun fact that on the 27th, we will be having our PSAT test date. Super exciting, super fun times on that date. At your schools and institutions, they'll be offering the PSAT to help you get ready, as well as NMSQT to help you be in consideration for scholarships and all that fun stuff in between. So that's your PSAT deadline. That'll be up and coming up. So keep that date in mind. If you haven't started studying or haven't gotten the prep, it's not too late. You are still welcome to join us and do some extra SAT prep studying with us. We have SAT prep Tuesdays and Thursdays. As well, if you need additional support, you can come talk to your case manager so that we can help you out with your Khan Academy and just help you keep track and improving your scores, and so that we can do just amazing on our PSAT. Right? Fingers crossed. And then tomorrow, we do have a special event coming up. Let's see. Do you mind telling us a little bit more, Miss Karina, about it?
Yes, of course. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I just want to let you know that tomorrow, Thursday, March 3rd, we are going to have some unions that specify to become electricians. So anyone that is interested in becoming an electrician, we will be having a presentation at 4 p.m. It is on Zoom. And it's going to be all on getting certified, going into the union, and that is tomorrow at 4 p.m. So we do have a guest speaker coming in. It's all on Zoom. We are going to be putting it on the big screen. We're going to be ordering some food, so make sure that you stop by at 4 p.m. Check your email. The Zoom link did go out, so you can join from home, but we would rather you do it from the site. Just in case you have any questions, we can definitely help with that as well. But they're looking to hire students that want to go and become electricians. And this is a union, so it's legit. They'll help with job placement. They'll help with certification. If you know you want to go the 2-year route or just want to get a certification or vocational school, you most definitely want to attend tomorrow's meeting. This is one of many. We do focus on career readiness. It's not all 4 year, it's not just a community college. We do help with getting students certified and with schools that are accredited. So if you are considering certification, look into schools that are accredited like LA Trade, El Camino, so that you're not putting yourself in too much debt or no debt at all, and that your certification is legit. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. at every location, we'll be having food, prices, and it's all virtual for anyone that wants to go become an electrician.
No, 100%. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you
And
so much.
lastly, we do have a job opportunity. So if you're interested in working, we do have different partners, different companies that come to us to hire. We do have internship opportunities. So email your coordinator your resume and we'll make those connections for you if you're looking to work or if you're looking to intern. Just go ahead and send us your resume.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Miss Karina. Thank you so much for reminding us about our electrician fair. Again, it'll be virtual, but on site we will have delicious snacks that you can come in, check it out, browse how everything's gonna go. And speaking of resumes, for our senior class, today what we are discussing and helping you guys kind of put all together is applying to summer jobs, doing our internships, and just helping you build that resume so that you can utilize it for any career pathway that you're interested in, whether it's right there right now as a Boys and Girls Club member to work at our club or some of our other associates or partners that are looking right now, sniping away for some of our students to support them, or if it's for applying on campus at your institution or your university, such as if you got work study or things like that, how to start building that resume so that you can utilize it to best suit and fit those needs. Sounds fun, sounds fun, sounds fun. So, just to check in, are we ready to break out or no, not yet?
Yeah, they're better spread up.
Perfect. So you guys know the drill. As it opens up, all my underclassmen, please again join into our breakout room so that you guys can talk about and do our Drive Your Life Series Careers 3. Seniors, you'll be staying here with myself, Miss Karina, Miss Carla, Miss Janelli, and we're just going to have a grand old time to just support and just kind of talk to each other as we learn about resumes and all that fun stuff. I am going to ask you guys some questions, so please feel free to, answer us, let us know. I'm going to ask you guys some questions, so pay attention. I'll be writing down. If you're not in the underclassmen workshop yet, please make sure that you put it in the chat. Please make sure you send us a little message so that we can put you in the appropriate workshop. But without further ado, let's get started. Share my screen. Yes. Yes. Share my screen. Yes. So like I mentioned earlier, we're doing applying to summer jobs and internships, so understanding how to kind of give you that speed kind of drive through college preparation level-ish on how to best support yourself and kind of best showcase your talents when applying to jobs and institutions, just to kind of give you a little rundown for the future, for your own benefit, and to help you start building that resume and start building those skills that you need to expand your network and apply to different jobs opportunities at your school for the summer or whatever kind of method goes your way. We're here to kind of support that. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat so that we can best answer them, as well as I'm going to be asking you guys some questions, so please feel free to either unmute, drop them in the chat, don't be scared. I don't bite, we don't bite, feel free to just join on in. So let's get started. So why do summer jobs and internships matter? Why does it all kind of matter? Why is this kind of crucial little topic that we're here to kind of talk about? So summer jobs and internships matter because a summer job means that you are able to save and put away money for either your personal expenses, food or travel, or money for books and supplies when you're thinking of college in the future. Summer jobs have the opportunity to not only give you work experience, helping you add more to your resume so that if you're looking for a job on campus, you have additional work experience, you have additional references to kind of look back. But even more so, again, it's just helping you save additional money for those expenses. So let's say for a rainy day and you need something really crazy for your book, or you have a family emergency, you have that money saved up to be able to utilize. Again, you could also utilize it for personal expenses. Let's say traveling back home if you're going somewhere far, helping you out with like gas and different types of things like when you're traveling back home. So all those kind of factors come into play. So that's additional money just so that you have for those emergency kind of scenarios. An additional factor when you're thinking of like summer job or an internship, or if you looked over or remember those summer opportunities in that PowerPoint in that presentation, is that it's a nice opportunity to give you experience and potential exposure into the career and the field that you're interested in. So let's say you're really passionate about going into nursing, or you're really passionate about architecture, or maybe computer science, and right now that's like your go-to, your dream right now. But let's say you haven't really experienced it. You haven't really seen what that kind of field looks like. A summer job or internship is a great option because not only does it allow you to gain actual experience within that field, but it really kind of puts to the test so that you can witness what that life will look like post graduation, so that you kind of better gain a sense of understanding of like, oh, this is what it's going to be like for myself. Oh, is this something that I really want to pursue? Or if you're maybe the case, let's say you're thinking computer science, and then as you do more coding work and as you do more experience in that, you're like, oh, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be. Maybe I need to switch gears and find a different pathway. Especially if you do it right now this summer, that gives you a lot of flexibility and time to say like, oh, let me pivot and try and find a different interest, passion, or major, or try out a different experience. Who knows? Maybe you try a whole different summer job as you start working with it, maybe in the field of business or things like that. Let's say you did Bank of America student leaders. As you kind of experience it, you do a little bit more, you may realize like, oh, I really enjoy this field or component. Maybe that's now what I want to change my major and pursue because I loved it so much. Plus, it just keeps your summer busy. You know, makes you active, make sure that you're on top of your tasks and you're not just kind of loafing around lazy. Keeping yourself busy during the summer is important to avoid the summer melt, making sure that you're on track to committing to your school, on track to all the processes, but also just making sure that you're just engaged within your community. So plenty of perks when it comes to summer jobs, options, and opportunities. So who can tell me what's the difference between a job and a career? Let's see who remembers from, let's say, their underclassmen workshop or from Career Bound. Who can remember the difference between a job or a career? Or who knows the difference? There we go. And did we all disappear? Are we too busy doing our financial aid? Of course. No, no guesses? You can put it in the chat, unmute yourself. No stressors, no pressure. No fears. Any guesses? No. Wow, you guys are quiet. You know the underclassmen, they're very active in that. In the other Zoom, they talk a lot. It's really fun over there. So come on, you guys, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Let you guys warm up a little bit. But, try to
Hear me
answer
okay?
the chat. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we are trying to assess participation. We want to make sure that everyone's engaged. We'll throw in some raffles. What is it?
Oh, Miss Karina, you got muted. I don't know why.
Oh, got you. So today's presentation will result in the way that you make decisions after high school. It will definitely impact you as to the job placement that you're going to go into, and as well for the actually your whole entire life. And so I am going to read from the chat. It says career is more long term while a job is temporary. Very good. I believe a job is short term and a career is long term. Correct. Yes.
Thanks. Huge shout out to Juan and Andrew. You guys, thank you so much. Yeah, being out there, being the first, always amazing. So thank you so much. I'm taking note. Believe me, I'm writing it down, keeping it all up. I'm paying attention. But You guys are essentially correct. Totally, totally, totally awesome. When you're thinking of the difference between the two, is that when you're talking about a career, you're talking about a long term goal, what you want to accomplish. So let's say right now, my career path is that I want to become an educator. So that's my long term goal, maybe something along like a teacher, counselor. That's what I want to attain. However, in order to reach that goal, I have little stepping stones. And what those stepping stones are could be different types of jobs. So essentially, what a job is essentially long term, short term kind of occupation that meets your kind of needs, and it's just you kind of going there to receive your payment. It's essentially what a job sounds like. It's you going in and just, doing in the work to receive that compensation to support your lifestyle. Along the stepping stones to that career, you're going to take multiple jobs. So let's say I want to become, like I just said, a teacher. One of the multiple jobs that I could go into was potentially working here at the Boys and Girls Club, gain a little bit more experience about working with kids, how that kind of looks like, how to kind of deal with kids. If I want to do high school, then a great place to go would be College Bound. So I can talk more to high school students, kind of see what that kind of component is like and how to kind of deal with classroom management / behavioral management. The next kind of stepping stone I could do is go and work as a teacher's aide, working in a school, watching how the school atmosphere kind of looks like, how it is in the day. From there, going on to working either inside the office, getting my degree and my credentials to start working as a teacher, and everything in between are kind of different stepping stones. Let's say you're trying to go become a doctor or a nurse. Potential jobs that you can take along the way to kind of help you support financially while gaining experience to support you with that is becoming a medical scribe, working as a medical assistant, maybe doing some job shadowing to kind of give you that. Although job shadowing usually is like volunteering, so that's usually unpaid. You can do some types of internships, like working at the Lundquist Institute, where they have summer programs that will pay you to do research. Working in different kind of components, working as a research assistant to see whether you like research or if you like research, like that was a little too boring for me. I'd rather work with the people, or I like working with people. So it kind of gives you that vibe and that atmosphere to kind of know. And that's why jobs are important because, it's those stepping stones to really realize and just kind of activate those career goals. Right? Make sense? Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Now, in some cases, or most cases, your jobs lead you to your career. You sometimes discover that, hey, I don't want to do this. I actually going to go back to school and maybe get a different degree, or maybe change my major, and may now have a firm decision as to where. From a personal experience, I did restaurants for a really long time. I knew I didn't want to do it forever. And so when I went to school, I was selective about my major, which allowed me to now do the work that I do and now build a career the way I have been, the same way as Mr. Eddie and every one of our case managers. They all had jobs in college that knew they didn't want to do for the rest of their life per se, and are now in a prospective career. And so that happens very often. The average adult actually changes their major 3 to 4 times in their lifetime. This is even people with a master's degree. They go and change their, um, I guess, their perspective about the job that they thought they were going to go into, especially the medical field. That happens very often. If you're not into blood or just can't handle blood, and you end up at an internship or end up doing one of these job shadows, you then go and discover like, hey, you know what, it's maybe not something that what I wanted to go into. So I'm going to maybe have a different concentration. I'm going to maybe do billing instead, or I'm maybe going to do x-rays instead. Still build a career. You can still accomplish and be in that perspective field, but maybe in a different unit. And so you are going to do a lot of discovering in college. You are going to test the waters. Your first work study job might be at Starbucks, the library, the dorms, and that might be enough to discover your passion. And that is where you have your career. So when you build a career, you'll then discover that your career will feel like a job because you enjoy doing it so much. And so that's where eventually what we want to get to is that once you're in college and you discover your passion, everything's going to come natural, and you'll eventually build a career from that potential degree that you're obtaining. Some degrees or careers require more than one degree, like a master's degree or just more than a bachelor's, and so that's where you're in your prospective career after graduate school.
Yep. For sure. Thank you so much, Miss Karina. And even with that, or just picking back off of that, joining certain jobs also, it's nice to branch out and try different things because it'll help you gain new skill sets that maybe you didn't know you were capable of. So let's say potentially like joining here, I gained new skill sets in terms of I didn't really think about like presenting or doing things like that, or skill sets when it comes to, with the pandemic, how it kind of pushed everyone a little bit differently to now having these new virtual skill sets of doing like film editing or doing additional kind of Zoom presentations or things like that, how it all kind of works and engages. So it's really nice because each job kind of gives you that additional perspective or kind of pushes you in different ways that you didn't know. So, very nice to kind of branch out. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So, first and foremost, let's talk about a little bit about our resume and let's talk about how do we kind of acquire or go for a summer job slash internship. There's kind of three different components when it comes to getting a job, getting an internship, three different kind of facets that you want to consider. The first or kind of foundational one, I kind of like to think of it of like kind of like going on dates or kind of going on that. The very first one, which is your resume, is just kind of like a little introductory. Maybe people have heard about you, maybe it's a little blind date, and this is just you kind of finding out about what that other person's like. So the resume is kind of the door opening where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take the offer and kind of try and go and get to know this person. And a resume itself, it showcases your leadership, your experiences, skills that'll help you succeed within that occupation. Your objective also solidifies your goals, your ambitions, and it's essentially kind of like that little dating profile to say, like, hey, this is what I'm all about. This is kind of what I've kind of gone through. See if you're kind of interested in that. The next phase is kind of actually having like that first kind of, validation, kind of that first meeting up. That's within the interview. So if your resume passes that first phase, next phase is that interview portion. So this is where you get to showcase your talents and how much of an asset you are, how much you can help benefit the company that you're kind of interviewing for or the occupation that you're going for. The key thing when it comes to interviewing is that you have to do additional research. You have to really showcase that you kind of understand the company that you're applying for. Oftentimes we may apply broadly with our resumes, but once we get that interview, we want to make sure we're a little bit more finite so that we can validate and showcase that we're interested in the company by doing research. So let's say you branched it out to the Boys and Girls Club, we called you back for an interview. You may want to do additional research and figuring out maybe what our mission is, what are some of our values, what are some of our programming that we like to do, so that you can kind of talk about it within your interview and showcase like, hey, I heard you guys do a program called College Bound. I'd love to add to that and bring up maybe some context backgrounds, bring up some of my friends so that we could do an entrepreneurial segment or add something to that. So it kind of, as an interview, kind of gives you that little notation like, wow, they've done their research. They know what they're talking about. They know what they want to bring to the table. So I really like this person. It also gets a chance for you to showcase your personality and see if you're really a great fit for the company. If all the vibes check out. Then the last component, after they've kind of done the resume, after they've done the interview, is your references. So you've kind of showcased who you are with your resume. You've kind of showcased your talents and what you can bring to the table. They've gotten to know you, visually know you, as well as get to know you a little bit over person. So now it's validating all the information that you presented. So your resume and your interview, they're now going to talk to your references, so people that you trust that can speak on your behalf, just like letters of recommendation, and say like, hey, I was really interested in Karina. Did she actually, help set up and become a liaison? Did she actually lead all these programs? Does she actually do this? Can you tell me more about her? Are these qualities really about her? What's her kind of work ethic? So that's really hopefully that you chose people that not only know that are references, but people that know you so they can validate and speak on your behalf and just ultimately, yeah, validate how amazing you are as a person. Those are kind of the key crucial things.
One more thing that I want to add here, your case managers are a great asset. They actually, sometimes in most cases, tend to know you best because they get to know your personal side as well as your academic side. And so, if you're applying to schools, if you're applying for other internships, consider at least having one of your case manager, one of the staff that you work with, as one of your reference. Sometimes teachers, because they have so many students, may not always be able to vouch on your behalf. We have received calls as reference, and we have been able to get students not only jobs or internships, but internships that lead to jobs as well. Have your resume revised by one of our staffs as well. Oftentimes, some of the material that's on there is either outdated, or we just help you make it better. We know sometimes you do your first resume for your English class and then maybe don't update it until anytime after that. You should have two types of resume, one for scholarships and one for work purpose. You shouldn't be using one for both. We're gonna tell you the difference in another presentation, but this is what eventually is going to lead to a potential interview. So we want to make sure that you can at least get your foot inside the door.
Yep. Thank you so much, Karina. That's actually the perfect segue. I was going to talk about academic versus professional. Perfect segue. See, we're like 100% in sync. So as Ms. Karina just mentioned, you do have two different types of resumes. Hopefully, we've all been applying to beautiful scholarships across, all the scholarship opportunities there are, and we've kind of learned this first one, which is your academic resume. There's a difference between the two, right? Typically, your academic resume is used for applying to colleges, universities, scholarships, or for asking for letters of recommendation. It essentially covers everything that you've done within your academic career, right? It talks about your classes that you've taken, like specialty AP or honors classes, your SAT or PSAT scores, AP courses, and above all your extracurricular activities. So that's where you list things like the Boys and Girls Club and itemizing the fact that you do college-bound workshops, Power of the Pen, things like that, clubs that you do at school. Your academic resume has essentially your resume of everything that you've done within your high school career. It can be long, it can be multiple pages. There's no real kind of cutoff to it because, it's just everything that you've kind of done. Your professional resume is very much different. This is you applying specifically to a job or occupation for the future. It should be no more than 1 page. We can't be doing 2, 3-page resumes. No. People are busy. The person who's interested in your application can't have all that time to really go through it because they're getting countless applications. So you want to make sure it's finite, to the point, and showcases exactly why you should be there. It has very specific sections that will change a little bit based on your occupation, and it usually should be very up to date with the things that are most active. You want to for sure at least put it within your resume, your most recent job that you just kind of had, as a little bit of a reference point so that they know, like, oh, what you've kind of been doing lately, or what was the last job that you had. Again, no more than a page, max, like front and back of a page, but usually 1 page is like ideal, so that the person can really scan through and see, like, hey, this person is writing the right things. I want to interview this person and find out a little bit more. For some of us, this looks very familiar to start off our academic resume. This is great if you have like siblings or if you haven't done an academic resume, because this has all the questions and areas to help you build and see everything that you've done within your 4 years of high school. We have this beautiful packet because, it's our college-bound packet, college-bound academic resume, and it has all the context of like summer programs, extracurricular activities, community, awards, work experience, classes, college classes, everything in between. You have all that information. Ultimately, that piles up to perform something like this, where it talks a little bit about your education. You see at school activities in this sample of an academic resume where it has PAL, peer mentorship, Pedro Action League class. It has Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano Latino Azatlan Club, all that fun stuff. You see how it goes on to another page. This resume is actually a lot longer, but I only took a few pages from it. You have college-bound graduation, where this person came and helped out at graduation, alumni panel mixers, Cal State Long Beach trips, decathlon, ACT decathlon. You see things from South Central Scholars, Latino Youth Leadership Conference, Los Angeles Cast for College and College and Career Convention, and of course, the awards. So you see a whole bunch of different activities that this person did, and it showcases that within their academic resume. Your professional resume, which is the sample that I have on the right, is much more clean, concise. You don't have as much fluidity to just talk about everything. You're going to talk about, key things that you did within your career and key involvements that you want to highlight. One big thing that I'll tell you right now is that your resume is going to differ depending on the occupation that you're looking at. So one of my biggest suggestions is that if you have a large traditional resume, it can be as many pages as you want that you can pull from for when you're applying to different types of jobs. So if you're applying to, let's say, a place like a fast food restaurant, you want to choose or have descriptions relating to like managing people, managing foods, different types of things. So you want to pull directly things that'll help associate better to the job that you're looking for or the job that you're applying for. So that's kind of how the differences go in between. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the components of a resume and how that all kind of looks like. So components of a resume, how to kind of organize it and how to make it look like is that you have your header, which is your name, contact information, phone number, and email. Very basic information so that they're able to reach out to you, contact you in case they want to follow up for an interview or in case they have other questions. Then you have your objective statement. So this is optional. I think if you're first starting out with a job, it's a nice little kind of thing to showcase, but it's not 100% mandatory. Your objective statement is essentially just you describing what your goal is, why you're applying to this job, what your goal is with applying to this job that you're looking into, whether it's just to gain some work experience, whether it's for you to be able to explore the field to later pursue a career in the future, whatever that objective kind of is for yourself, why are you applying to this job? Then it's going to be your experience section. So that's going to be like the bulkiest or the longest section. So it's going to be more sequential where you're going to talk about either volunteer or work experience and how it aligns to the job that you're looking for. We have this nice little breaking down. So if you guys want to take a screenshot, this would be a perfect slide to screenshot and just kind of have. But position, title, the company / employer that you worked at, description of the task, so like leadership, accomplishment, quantifying numbers are great. Just make sure you're concise, but you're also not being too long. So using power words to really validate and kind of showcase what you're able to do. Power words just like managing, coordinating, planning out, organizing. Leadership words that really showcase, not just saying, I made 100 flowers. I organized a team of 10 people to help make 100 flowers to sell for our Valentine's Day rams or things like that. You really want to put power behind it. And of course, finally, you have your education, which is just essentially core. What school did you go to? What degree did you get? What's your graduation date? Those are the key basic things when you're looking at, again, a work resume. And finally, your skills, which is just strengths, capabilities, and what you kind of bring to the table, whether it's organization, whether it's leadership, whether it's computational skills, such as being bilingual or being able to utilize things like Excel, Microsoft Word. If you know specific programs like Adobe or things like that, those are great skills to have. Other skills like communication skills, positive environment, positive influence towards others, setting trustworthy, setting an example. Those are all kind of great skills that you would like to add. And last but not least, references. So you either have two options to put for your references. The first one is that way they're a little bit more interested, that references are available upon request, or you could just put your references on there. The key is like anywhere between like 2 to 3 references to have on your resume, and you just put their title and contact information so that they can reach out and say, hey, we're interested in this person. Can you tell us a little bit more, like we talked about earlier? So I have a beautiful example of 2 resumes right here. And you can see it's very concise, straight to the point. This is the resume that you saw earlier, which is from Enrique Marquez. This is straight like out of college, so it's talking about different types of organizations that they did. So their affiliations with like Hermanos Unidos, HSBA, ESO, Summer Bridge Program, and talking about what they kind of did within it, as well as different types of involvement, skills, and abilities. This one on the right-hand side is more so like traditional as you guys get further within your kind of job or career experiences. We're going to highlight maybe 2, 3 different experiences that you have, talking very well in the description of power words of saying like implementation, maintained, how many students on average were going to this person's, ensuring that the students were being safe, productive members of society, responsibilities, showcasing that you have all that capabilities, as well as you see the education section, and of course the skills section, very short, detailed, and what different types of certifications they have, as well as customer service, detail-oriented, graphic designing, food handling. If you guys have a food handler's license, that's beautiful. CPR, that's also beautiful. You can also come with us and we can help you get those licenses.
Now, for everyone that's in high school right now, maybe you may not have these many items on your resume, but do not underestimate volunteer service, especially community service or extracurricular activities. that is also another way to stand out. You may have obtained leadership skills, you may be in a leadership role. So, this is an opportunity to highlight those traits, those characteristics. And in most cases, it's enough just to be able to obtain an internship, if not a job. So, if you don't work, do not underestimate community service, Keystone, any of the events you ever did with CASF at school or any organization you ever want to volunteer at, especially if it's within our own organization. Make sure to get credit where credit is due. You do want to get it revised because, again, oftentimes students will underestimate those activities or will forget even that they were part of those activities. Your resume should only be one page. And so, again, if you're working with the staff, it's going to come out to one page. We'll do the best to help you stand out. After today, make sure that you go home and look for your certificates because that's another great characteristic that you want to showcase your leadership, your academic excellence, any 4.0 certificates that you ever got, 3.5, 3.0s can go on a regular resume because it goes to show that you have achieved academic excellence and you have challenged yourself with these rigorous coursework. Some of you have received them multiple years, perfect attendance awards can go all on there, and that is how you're going to be able to stand out amongst so many applicants and students applying for the same internship through those awards that you have. If you already know where they're at, make sure to bring a copy of them to the Boys and Girls Club because this is how you're going to be able to execute an academic resume. So you have to start with the regular one before you can do an academic one, which is going to be a long lengthier. It's probably going to come out even to 3 or 4 pages, and that is what's going to help you win scholarships. So you need to know the difference. You need to know that this is the foundation. This is where you can start with a regular resume and eventually convert it to an academic resume. So after today, bringing your certificates, we'll make a copy of them and make sure that you are the best candidate out there in the workforce.
No, 100%, 100%. And like Miss Karina said, organizations, clubs that you do, very, very valid, powerful thing. It's just how you write it. Just like with this student right here on the left side, they don't have work experience, but they have their clubs. So they're talking about the organizations, how they manage, organize budgets. So if you're a treasurer for something, ordering food, supplies, planning out orders, deliveries, everything in between, those are all key skills that jobs and occupations are going to be looking for. And part of what I wanted to just kind of highlight with the key with the resume is that every resume is going to be a little bit different and it's also going to be tailored to the job application that you're kind of looking at. So when you're applying to specific jobs or within a kind of specific field of jobs, you'll notice that everything or the descriptions will be a little bit differently. So there's a little sample of Trader Joe's, how they're hiring, and you can see within the descriptions what they're talking about, what they're looking for. Working on a teams to accomplish goals, operating in a cash register in a fun and effective, efficient manner, bagging groceries with care, stocking shelves, creating signage. What are key things that you think would be great skills or great things to write within your resume to make it kind of shine and make it kind of just blow out? Any suggestions? Because applying to Trader Joe's is going to be different than applying as a police management or applying as a customer service representative. Those are very different occupations, right? So when you're writing your resume and when you're bringing up those skills, you're going to look at this post and it's essentially telling you what they're kind of looking for. So you want to make sure that you answer that or say, hey, my resume, I can do this. I can work with teams. I've been a part of the ACT decathlon. Oh, what happened? I've been a part of the ACT decathlon. I know how to work with the team to make sure that we're managing together to help accomplish goals and to help make sure that we are successful. Whether it's bagging groceries or whether it's stocking shelves, organization, those are all key skills that you can showcase and you can really validate. Sounds fair? Fair. There we go. So enough about resumes. Remember, come in so that we can help you start building that resume. If you haven't done your academic resume to kind of help polish it out for scholarships, come on in so that we can support you and just maximizing it, just making it sound as beautiful as possible. The next phase is interviews. So interviews is a chance to showcase how fabulously amazing you are as a person. You want to dress for the position that you want. So if you're dressing for like a manager or a CEO, then you want to dress as if you're going in for a manager or CEO. If you're going to dress for, let's say, you're trying to work at, I don't know, like a cinema or things like that, you don't necessarily have to dress up like that manager or CEO, but maybe just dress up a little bit more kind of business casual, casual formal. A good rule of thumb typically is doing a little bit casual formal. Remember, this is not prom, so you don't have to dress up to the nines or dress up like something totally crazy. You just want to make sure that, you look a little bit more professional. So having like a nice shirt or maybe some slacks, a nice pair of pants, nice shoes, and it's just seal the deal. You look like you're there to handle and mean business. Key things to take with you if you are invited to do a interview is take extra copies of your resume in a manila folder or portfolio, because it really showcases that, I'm ready, I'm prepared, I want to make sure that you guys have all the materials that you need to be able to ask me the different types of questions. If you bring those extra copies of your resumes, even for a scholarship interview, bringing extra copies of like your academic resume so that they can pull it up right there in the moment and ask you different types of questions about it and just kind of refresh what it is that they want you to do. You can bring an additional notepad or pens if you have any additional questions you want to bring in, or asking as a potential part at the end of your interview, you have a chance to ask questions. You can ask a little bit more about the company, the position, so that you can have little notes for yourself. Doesn't have to be any crazy, but so that you can take little notes for yourself about what they're kind of looking for, or even things that they mention, so that you can make sure that you bring it up within the conversation. Thank you cards are a lovely thing to do after an interview. Lovely thing to do. You can either take them with you there and have them kind of ready ahead of time, so you can leave it up with the front desk before you go into the interview so that they could pass it on after you leave. We could save it for later or send them through the mail or drop them off another day or two later, just to show that appreciation and just to show that care. Same thing with the letters of recommendation. A thank you card is always nice to just show, hey, thank you so much for doing me that solid, doing me that favor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely meeting with you. Any research notes to remind you to do before the interview. So if you've done research on the company, that way you have a few questions to ask for your interview or any questions that you had for the position. It's great to kind of have those little notes. That way you can refresh them before the interview so that you're able to ask. Key questions to ask, because honestly, at the end of the interview, they always ask, do you have any questions for us? You could say things like, is there a chance in their interview for ask questions? You can either ask about the growth of the company, how the person got into the position that they are. So if you're talking to a CEO, how did they get to that position? What is it that they look for the most, or what is a key goal that they would want the person in this new position you're applying for to accomplish? That's a great, beautiful question, because it shows you're paying attention and that you're actively thinking like, how can I best support or improve your company? Just don't ask questions like, hey, so what even is this job, or what is the company about? Ask questions about like benefits or things that you might be interested in, or goals or long-term goals, or how they think that the person in that position could best effectively accomplish those goals. And if they answer that question saying like, oh, we want someone who's like driven, hardworking, bring it back. Say, I can offer those goals. I have every single one of those facets and I'm able to bring it to your company. Again, it's all about sealing the deal and just showcasing how amazing and brilliant you are and how hungry you are to accomplish this job, accomplish this occupation. Make sure you have time to come sit down with your case managers, because we can help you practice for interviews. Both scholarships, professional interviews, the questions don't really differ that much. The only thing with scholarships that you may hear is just the additional question of like, so how do you expect to finance your education? But everything else, the questions are going to be very similar. A key thing to kind of remember, or just to kind of keep in your mind, is how do I answer these common questions, or how do I answer these questions? So tell me a little bit about yourself. That's a key question, because it's essentially your elevator speech. You may want to introduce your name, what your goals are, but essentially what you want to do is just your objective, what you want to accomplish and what you kind of want to go towards the future. Maybe highlighting like 2 or 3 little qualities or strengths about yourself, and then just going on from there. So saying, hey, Eddie, tell me a little bit about yourself. So my name is Eduardo Valderramos, or, you already kind of know that. But some of my aspirations or goals is that I want to work for your company to further pursue my interest in being able to support students in succeeding in academic success. Some of my key traits that I think really make me qualified, or really make me able to kind of flourish in this position, is the fact that I'm hungry to learn, as well as that I'm passionate and able to find solutions in a creative manner. In a few words, I just told you a little bit about yourself and what I kind of wanted to look for. So we're here to kind of support you with that. What are some of your strengths and weaknesses? Feel free to talk about what some of your strengths are. I just brought it up right now, hungry for the position as well as I'm a little bit creative. A weakness that you can always bring up, and whenever you get this question as a weakness, feel free to be honest. Something for me that I lacked as a weakness is maybe my shyness and not being able to overcome that. So, in order to overcome that and kind of push through with my shyness, was being able to come up and do presentations, working consistently to just kind of de-stress when it comes to doing a presentation and being able to put myself out there and showcasing what I want to accomplish and planning everything out. Maybe it's a weakness that you feel that you have is maybe communication. What are you doing to better address that weakness? What are you doing to help move forward and how to turn that weakness into a strength or something that you have a better grasp? So that's what you kind of want to look for. What is your greatest accomplishment? Sounds just like a personal statement question. I'm sure it does. Very similar to a scholarship question. So you want to talk about what that greatest accomplishment was and what you learned from that accomplishment. What that kind of taught you or what that you gained from that experience to help you out with that future or help you out with that job, occupation, or scholarship. How do you define success is a lovely one. Again, that's more so like a job question. But how do you define success? Just, how do you define success and how do you plan to achieve it? That's essentially what they're asking. What does success look like for you? And what do you want to do to help, achieve that or help make that success happen? So make sure, again, always say this, don't just tell me. Utilize your skills. Tell me everything that you kind of go for. Talk about actions and what you gain from those experiences. You want to do the whole picture, just like a personal statement. That's what an interview is, just in person. So it's no more like polishing and let me get my thoughts together. It's just there on the spot. Tell me what it is about this. Tell me a little bit more about what you learned from it and showcase your talents. It's nothing too stressful. I know it can be very nerve-wracking, but we're here to support you. We help out with countless interviews and then we can support you with additional interview prep. So let us know if you have one coming up because, again, we could set you up with a volunteer, other staff to interview you so that you kind of get those jitters out of the way and get that feedback to better improve your interviewing skills and just really showcasing who you are. And then additionally, just to help you deal with that nervousness when it comes to interviews, remember this is one of many interviews in your life. This is not the only interview, so do not stress or overstress. Just de-escalate your anxiety because it's going to go fine. Whatever is meant to be is meant to be. You could do 4-3-8 breathing so that it's breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 3, and out your mouth for 8 seconds. That's to help lower your heart rate, reduce your stress, just kind of get your mind back and centered. And of course, you can always have a mantra. So something that you say to yourself to help you just kind of keep calm and stay focused to what you want to say within your interview or what you want to say within that task. So you're the captain of your ship, water off the duck's back, snap out of it, whatever it is that helps you to just stay focused and just keep on that goals and keep on that mission to what you want to accomplish. So, no stress. There's plenty of interviews. We're also here to support you to help you give you that prep and that practice to just shine. And then the last section is your references. So your references, again, same concept as your letter of recommendation. Someone that you can have a trust and a strong relationship with. Someone that understands your work ethic as well as your leadership and can really talk about what you've kind of accomplished and what you kind of are going for. And someone that you kind of look up to, a sensei, someone that will speak very well on your behalf and that knows you in and out and knows what you're capable of and is going to talk about and validate everything that you put on your resume as well as the skills that you have. Maybe see greater things that you maybe don't see about yourself. And as Ms. Karina mentioned, any one of your case managers are more than happy to be a reference and more than happy to kind of give you that additional support. If we're willing to write you a letter of rec, we're probably willing to be a reference too. So we're more than happy to do that because we know you and we want to support you and we kind of understand what you're capable of and we can see what you can accomplish in the future. So we're great references, but just make sure you ask. Don't just put a reference down without asking. Always ask. Always let them know. So now, how do you find /secure jobs and internships? So for the most part, a lot of jobs and occupations are now through a virtual means, so that you have to use different search engines within your institutions. So whether you're at a CC, 4-year, anything along those lines, they have their own career website or their own career database in which different companies reach out to them and say like, hey, could you post this? I'm looking for students, or I'm looking for people maybe some of your students are interested in. Uh, One of the key things that you're looking for when you're thinking of your institution is what that kind of job network looks like. Now, when you do an online search engine, let's say something like Indeed or something like that, keep in mind that your resume isn't always being read by a person. Those search engines are utilized or there so that companies can get an influx of resumes. Typically, what the company will do so that the resume lands on their desk, which is why I go back to saying the job post is important to use those key vital words, is that they're going to type in a few of those key vital words in the search engine, and only the resumes that have those words enough times will pop up and rise to the surface. So if you are using a search engine, that's why you really want to be close proportional to what that description is, or utilize those keywords a few times so that your resume pops up and shines. It's based on the amount of times that you put it in the resume, which is also sometimes, unfortunately, even though you may be very qualified for the occupation, because you're missing that kind of component, your resume falls through the crack and it isn't read by the recruiter. So that's the tricky thing with search engines, but it is a beautiful tool because it lets you to explore various jobs and occupations and really see what's out there. Do just make sure you avoid scams. If something sounds too good to be true, unfortunately, it probably is. If they're saying work from home and make $3,000 an hour, more oftentimes than not, then that's probably not a real job, or it's probably some form of scam. So always keep that in mind. Now, there are specific search engines that you can always utilize to help you out. Monster is the original job search engine, so almost all companies will post onto Monster, and then from there, every other website will grab that information and copy it onto there. So, like Indeed will look to Monster, copy the job post, and put it on their website. Monster is the very first one because it's kind of the original or the finder. Very, very broad jobs will be posted on there, and companies will put it on Monster first, and then it'll trickle down to like Indeed and all these other job websites that we'll talk about right now. Another one that you can do is Glassdoor. The fun thing about Glassdoor is that, kind of like Rate My Professor, it allows employees to rate the company. That way you kind of know what you're going into, whether it has the right benefits, whether the company atmosphere is something that you like. So you kind of give that additional information, as well as there's an additional rating with it. You can also see the salaries and view for competing jobs. Typically, Glassdoor is something that you'll want to be using more so once you recently graduated. Recently graduated out of college. Once you kind of have that degree, Glassdoor is a really great place to kind of go for it and do some research for your jobs. And another beautiful thing is that Glassdoor also lets you research a company. So that's a great place for you to kind of get some additional details for your interview, or just additional details on what the company's like and how that atmosphere might be for yourself. And of course, the last one is Career Builder. This is one of the top recognized job boards. You'll find levels on all different types of components. Career Builder is a really nice one that you'll look for, especially after you guys graduate college, maybe after high school, because Career Builder is essentially what it sounds like, a career builder. So essentially, this is where companies will post if they're looking for young professionals, recent graduates, someone to bring new life or to start gaining that experience to go into that career. So let's say, again, if your career is like, I don't know, becoming an HR office manager, that's your ultimate goal. Right here within that young professionals or career builder is a great place to look for positions within an HR company, maybe an HR intern, so then work within the HR department to ultimately become that office manager. So Career Builder is a great place after you graduate to research jobs because they are looking for young professionals like yourselves. And then for future reference, so this is like down the road after you graduate college, depending on the different type of industry or field that you're looking in, there's also various other search engines. So like Dice is for technical jobs. So if you're doing things like IT, computer science, Dice is a website that you'll want to remember because that's more so for like technical jobs. If you're looking for jobs in finance, being able to do investment banking, things like that, eFinancial Careers is the website that you want to go to. If you're trying to work at a college, university, private institutions, higher ed jobs is the place that you want to go into, teaching, things like that, just working at a higher institution. If you're trying to work for nonprofit companies, The Idealist is the place that you want to go into and just see the different nonprofit companies that are out there posting jobs for there. If you're trying to work for the government, USA Jobs is the best place. If you're trying to work in K through 12 education, LEUSD is the best website to go for that. If you're trying to do like a teacher's assistant, work in the front office, or different types of fields like that, LEUSD website is a great place to kind of go for it for future reference. There's countless other specific websites that we can help you explore depending on your major and depending on that career that you're interested in, that we can help you discover. So a few tips to remember, all in all, is that have someone you trust to look over your resume and cover letter before applying to a job. That goes back to what Ms. Carino was saying, that talk to a case manager so that we can look over it, we can polish it, we can make it very, very spectacular. Even when you're applying to like a scholarship, we're here just to make things better. No, we're not trying to make you fail. We want to see you succeed and thrive. Write a list of what type of job you want and how much do you want to make with it. That's a great way to help you out when you're hunting for jobs, to kind of give you a scope of like, okay, this is what I'm kind of looking for. This is what I want within my job. I want an environment that's welcoming. I want an environment that has potential for me to grow. I want an environment that allows me to kind of have some flexibility or a specific time frame that it needs to be from, let's say, you're in school, so maybe you want a morning job from like 9 to 12, or you want a job after that and you want to do your classes in the morning from like 3 to 6. Write those notes down so that you know what you're hunting for and to keep that in mind. Make sure you have reliable references, so a mentor, coworker, Boys and Girls Club case managers, and just make sure you follow up after applying. Especially if you're doing it online, they get countless resumes. So the best thing to kind of do is, keep up to date. Now, if you want to avoid the whole kind of online thing or the whole kind of thing, then you want to think about your network, which we'll talk about right now. But final little just motivational penguin advice is that you may not always get the job right away, but don't let that discourage or stop you. You will find the right fit. I'm a huge believer that everything happens for a reason. So if that job doesn't work out for you in that moment, just know it's okay. Keep applying and you'll find a job that, was the right fit for you and was the right fit for what you wanted to accomplish in the future. So that's a beautiful thing. Aside from that, a little bit about your network, which also is beneficial when applying to your various jobs or institutions. Your network is essentially the people that you know or the people that, are essentially around you, such as myself, such as Miss Karina, such as Miss Carla, any of your Boys and Girls Club staff that can help you associate with different types of jobs. We've been sending out job opportunities recently. It could be your teacher, it could be people within your life that can connect you to your jobs. The key thing that I just want to talk about with networking is that when you have a network and you talk to someone about a job, it increases your chances of your resume being looked at. So let's say you're interested in working here for the Boys and Girls Club. If you talk to myself, if you talk to Ms. Carino, your case manager, you bring in that resume to us, there's a higher chance that we can push your resume so it can get looked at and increase that chances of you getting hired. Same thing if you're working for other companies. So let's say you're trying to work, let's say at Boeing or Northrop Grumman or things like that, and we have volunteers or additional staff that maybe now work there, or students or alumni. Communicating with us could then say, hey, let me reach out to this alumni. Hey, are you guys hiring? I have this student that's interested. Then they'll say maybe, yes, of course, or unfortunately, we're not hiring right now. If they say, yes, of course, can I forward you the resume? That way it pushes it all forward, so it increases your chances of landing a job. Your network is not something too crazy. Your network is essentially just the people that you kind of know in your life and just asking them. Asking a simple question can lead to a lot of results. Asking a simple question to your staff, to our board of directors, and saying like, hey, I'm really interested in this. Do you know where I can get more information about that? Hey, I'm really interested in working in the medical field, Eddie. What can I do now? Then I'll tell you. Maybe you want to look at maybe doing the summer camp at the Children's Hospital to expose you to different types of medical careers. Maybe you want to work at the Lundquist Institute. Maybe let's try getting you a volunteer opportunity at Kaiser. Oh, do you want to work specifically at a different company? Let's reach out and see how we can best connect you or how we can best support you. Your other option when it comes to that networking is LinkedIn, which is your professional social network, which gives you the opportunity and option to just kind of connect. If you haven't done a LinkedIn profile yet, it's a great time to do it, especially as seniors, because this is essentially the Facebook for networking and the Facebook to help you land jobs. It's essentially you linking yourself and connecting to different types of professionals so that they can see if you find a job through LinkedIn, they'll see like, wow, this person knows, let's say, Rosa Pacenti, who's on our board. Wow, this person knows Yesenia Aguilar, who's the college bound director. Wow, this person knows this person. I'd love to learn a little bit more about them because each one of those people, shows a lot of connection to that student. So that's a great opportunity with LinkedIn. And of course, finally, last but not least, there's also club opportunities that you can do with our Boys and Girls Club. You can do the intern project, which is due March 13th. That's a huge opportunity to be able to apply to multiple different industries and companies such as film, law, healthcare, business. Some of these occupations are paid, and they're also open to all grade levels. As long as you're the age of 16, you can apply to the intern project to potentially help you land a job within those industry fields. And you get to choose your top 3 fields that you'd like to work in. So great opportunity for experience. And those are the fields that they currently have. So you can see from business, government, healthcare, there's different types of jobs across that you can kind of explore and see, even with gaming companies. So plenty of opportunities. If you are looking for a job right now, maybe you want to do the AYE Youth Employment Services, which is just helping students across the LA County find occupations and jobs across LA County. Very similar to the Harbor Youth, I'll skip to that. Very similar to the Harbor Youth Worksource Center. Essentially, it's 120 hours, 20 hours of job training to help you build with resume, building a network, helping you find a career, and then 100 hours of you working in different facilities. It gives you everything in between and gives you that payment, as well as it's a great opportunity. So that might be something that you can do today, AYE, or of course, Harbor Youth Worksource Center. And then if you're looking for something in the summer, again, medical, I brought this up earlier. The Lundquist Institute is a great research opportunity, partnered with Harbor UCLA. So you get to do different types of research components, as well as you're getting paid and getting real medical experience in the medical field. And Lundquist Institute has been around for quite a while, as well as has multiple programs that you can even do this in college. You can do this after you graduate college and do your graduate school. You have plenty of career opportunities and research opportunities for you to get that medical experience and see what it is that you like. These are currently the different types of fields that they have, like psychological disorders, psychiatric disorders, neuroscience, metabolic disorders, everything in between. You can do research and get paid for it. Then this one's a new one, so if you're interested in doing things like environmental science, geology, geology, helping out the earth, environmental engineering, this is a great opportunity with the University of Maryland, where they fly you in and they also pay you $500 a week to not only do a college course, as well as doing research opportunities in the field of just helping out the environment and helping out just the world as a whole. So if you're interested in environmental stuff, there's a great opportunity only for seniors, and it's due April 22nd with the University of Maryland. And of course, if you're interested in the field of business, the Rodorian Scholarship is a great opportunity to help you understand more of the UCLA business program, how the MBA kind of works like. But this one is not paid. This is just for you to explore and kind of build those connections, because they bring companies in so that they talk to students, mentor them, and help support them when going into the business field. And of course, last but not least, a few friendly scholarship reminders is that we have all these opportunities coming up and what they're doing. National Charity League is a renewable scholarship, $2,000 to $4,000. It is due March 11th, which is next Friday. You have the Asian Pacific Community Fund, which is a multitude of scholarships that are all due April 1st, but great opportunities to support you. LA5 Rotary, which is due April 3rd. Maria's Closet, due March 27th. You have the California Credit Union. Our Boys and Girls Club Scholarship is coming out, where we give over $200,000 in scholarships. CIF scholarships, Planet Fitness. So make sure that you're joining us on Thursdays for our cash hour, and make sure that you're doing scholarships, checking your emails, because at the end of every email, there's all these scholarship links so that you can apply and just get your money. Get your money for your education. We're here for that. We're here to support you and utilize the skills that you learned today with applying. But with that being said, thank you so much. Any final questions that you guys have? Comments, concerns, stressors? No. I highly encourage you guys, honestly, to those scholarships that I just showed. I highly encourage you guys to apply, because they're fairly simple scholarships. Well, simple-ish, but they really look forward to hearing from students from the Boys and Girls Club, and they really want to support them. So that's already a huge benefit because you're part of the Boys and Girls Club network. But any questions? No? All right then. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday and we finish up our financial aid applications. Make sure that we finish, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to apply to scholarships. Stay in workshop. The Boys and Girls Club scholarship is going to drop soon.